Nick Walker and Derek Lunsford, always an interesting prospect, in my opinion. It is an apples versus oranges situation. We have Nick Walker, out of the Olympia. He competed here at the New York Pro right before the Olympia. Well, I mean, not right before, but he would have had a similar package. So if he had have brought this package to the Olympia, would have he actually defeated Derek Lunsford? Considering Derek Lunsford slipped down to fourth place, it is a probability that these two dudes would have been nose to nose. And the whole Martin Fitzwater thing, he was so good, he pushed Nick Walker. Nick Walker's no good. Well, Martin Fitzwater got fourth at the Olympia. So, of course, he pushed Nick Walker. There's people saying that Martin Fitzwater should have beat Derek Lunsford, for goodness sakes. And going even farther, he should have beat Hattie Shupin, for goodness sakes. So Nick Walker defeating Martin Fitzwater, all of a sudden, it means something. And I, for one, was never one of those guys that said, oh, Nick Walker, he's finished. He's all through. After the whole debacle concerning his coach. And I don't get into that stuff at all on this channel, but over there at Goat Fitness, he did a nice little piece on the whole Matt Jensen situation. So check that out, guys. And now everybody's going to be like, well, anyway, I guess we're starting with the front double bicep. Everybody's going to be like, oh, I believed in Nick. It was his coach's fault. What about those people that were bad-mouthing Nick? I'm here to tell you, anybody that knows me knows that I never once bad-talked Nick. I thought he was going to be back, and he is going to be back. And he's going to look better than this New York Pro version. But like I said, we don't get into that. We judge physiques. That's what I do for you fellers and fellases. It is an apples versus orange situation. Both have good luxurious quads. Derek has the better V-taper, of course. No doubt, guys. Look at that vacuum. Unbelievable. Nick has the better arms. Those traditionalists love the arms in the front double. Of course, why wouldn't you? Nice peaks. But I've always spoke up against the hate towards Derek Lunsford's arms. They're pretty good, guys. Look at the forearms and the tricep sweeps. Biceps are anything but puny. They just don't have them Nick Walker-like peaks. But having said that, close in the front double. Mark's Max probably give an edge to Derek, to be honest. Front lat spread, you might as well throw this picture out of Nick Walker. It is pan back, and that distorts everything. We were lucky enough to have the pictures be very similar in angle, closeness, things of that nature, or what you guys call pixels, I guess, something of that nature, I don't know. But the front lat spread has distorted Nick. You can see his head's way too small. It's just not sized correctly. And furthermore, I think that these guys would be closer than most people would think in the front lat spread, considering Nick actually improved his. Now Derek has too. Derek definitely has too. He looks pretty good. Not bad at all. So Derek, out of the two front shots, personally, yeah, I think he would get Nick. But it is a situation, guys, where it is absolutely close. If these guys were on the Olympia stage, the judges would be pushing them and pushing them. One of them would break. And Nick Walker, I don't know, he can hold pretty tight. And I definitely expect the next time we see this man to have a revamped front lat spread. See, he has to hold his arms up. Hold them up. Well, he's still probably losing to Derek here. But having said that, this was his New York Pro back in 2021. Good version. Good version of Nick. Turn to the side. These two All-American boys. When you turn them to the side, you can really see and gauge how thick this Derek Lunsford really is. And I used the 2022 to size them correctly, and Nick does. He is taller. He's a little bit taller, but he stands a lot taller in a lot of the shots, in particular the side chest. Nick's ripped. He's shredded to the diced. He can't really afford to lose too many more shots to Derek. Not that he was just getting destroyed in that front double. or even the front lat. This is a close situation, even in the side chest. Derek has the edge, I think, in the wheels. He does not look as hard and as grainy as Nick, and that can mean a lot more. If you're a judge seeing them live on stage, that makes a whole heck of a lot more. Look at Nick's gray big man's forearms. I take the gray big man from gray big man's chest and bring it to the forearms. People new to the channel are wondering what the heck I'm talking about. Side tricep. Now, I'm not being fooled by Derek's opening up here. He's not that much bigger. I sometimes prefer a side tricep to be hit like a side tricep, not sneaking in the front there, Derek. I see what you're doing. Nick's tricep's a whole lot bigger. And when you look at actually his wheel looks better in the side tricep than it did in the side chest, interestingly enough. But compare the midsections, if you will. If you get your little pointer stick out there, it clicks, click, click. It means just like a pen. If you put like a click, click pen on the midsection of Nick, it would click, and it would not click for Derek because it's too soft. The little point just goes right in. Little bit of extra skin here. He's almost human-like. So yeah, I would honestly give an edge to Nick in the side tricep. And it is close. It's close all the way through. But yeah, you can hear in my voice, I am a huge Nick Walker fan. I don't hate Derek. I'd like to see Nick win, but it doesn't seem to be that way. Going into the back shots. And here is a situation where Derek Lunsford, he left the door wide open. And I owe it all to Gilco Productions. You go over there on Instagram. I don't show his footage. It's exclusive to his Instagram page, things of that nature. And right before the finals, I seen Derek at the prejudging. His glutes up close. I mean, you can really zoom in on this Gilco Production videos. And I seen some definite softness. There was a layer of water all over Derek's glutes. Compared to the year before, it wasn't even close. And I was lucky enough to be on a podcast right before that on Desktop Bodybuilding, starring Xavier Wills. And I mentioned that. So it makes a big difference. And Nick Walker, if you look at his New York Pro footage, you can also zoom in on that footage. I don't know if that one was Gilco or not, but man, oh man, he was pizzizzled. Close, guys. Very close. Considering Derek might actually have the better back. Here's the rear double. And you know my opinion on condition here. I would most certainly give an edge to Nick Walker. His hamstrings also much more pizzizzled. Sure, Derek has maybe the best glutes of all time, they say. But I mean, I'll take the hamstrings over the glutes any day of the week. And now that you're talking about glutes, Derek had some large bumps up on his hips. And I'm not going to be an expert and tell you exactly what they are, but I'll tell you what it isn't. It's not aesthetically pleasing, I can tell you that. And Nick, ultimately, he'd get the back double. Is he getting the rear lat? Condition-wise, I honestly think, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a quote-unquote Nick Walker fanboy. I'm a 43-year-old boy. It's a fan man. Be a fan senior in 20 years or so. But anyway. Yeah, Nick would get the back shots. Maybe both, due to conditioning. We asked the judges. Here's the abs and thigh. And you go back to the apples versus oranges. Midsection for sure is harder, grainier for Nick. Not bad in the abs and thigh, considering that he is genetically wide-waisted. He's not one of those tall, slender midsection guys, even like a Samson Dauda. Probably doesn't have a Victorian waist either, but I mean, the guy is shapely with those great big long legs, and that can really help an abs and thigh. But Nick, he's doing all he can. Derek was never a huge fan of his abs and thigh, but you have to admit, great V-taper, very hard to defeat. very hard to defeat. So close all the way through, right to the bitter end. And it just seems like Derek is that much wider than Nick. In every shot, back shots included. It's because he is. I looked at the Olympia from 2022, and even their version, those two versions, he's just built like one of those little trolls. Great big wide troll, not a little tiny troll, but a substantial troll. He's a substantial troll, is Derek. Now Nick is very wide too. Not as, but he is grainier. And when it comes to hard, grainy condition, the judges ultimately, if it appears, or if the condition edge is as great as it appears to be, they probably would go with Nick. But who are we to say, judging off these pictures? If they are very similar in condition, which is possible, yeah, they'd go with Derek. He's probably winning the two front. Front double's debatable. Probably winning one of the side. So, kind of on paper, Nick could be a tie game heading into the back shots, which is probably a toss-up too, considering the dominance in the rear lat. And we are taking into consideration that the condition is equal. If the condition is what it appears to be, Nick's winning, I think, hands down. Hands down. But yes, if the condition is similar, I think Derek's just winning too many shots. And that is ultimately probably why he won in 2022 versus Nick. So Nick, bring those shreds. If Derek brings out the softer side of Derek like we seen this year, yeah, it ain't no stretch of the imagination. Nick Walker, he can absolutely get a victory over Derek Lunsford next year at the Olympia. And I can't wait to see Nick return. Remember Nick, Triple M, Mark's Max Muscle, was not one of those Nick Walker haters. You guys remember that too, when he hoists that kind of boringly bronze Sandow. You have to wait another 10 years for a golden one. You never know, though. They'll be battling it out for that golden one. 10 years, you'll see. Have a great one, guys.